The Thin Blue Line Flag of Tyranny shirt is finally available. The link to purchase is in the description, so head over there and order today. This design is available on all different styles of shirts and hoodies. Hey everybody, it's James Freeman. In this part of the story about Jeff Weinhaus, we are going to show you eyewitness testimony from both a civilian witness as well as an FBI witness to the events. We will compare and contrast different witness accounts against the evidence and video footage that police didn't know was taken. This first audio clip is Marty Leach speaking. He witnessed the events that went down when Jeff Weinhaus was shot. What makes his testimony powerful to me is that he's probably one of the only witnesses that didn't have any prior bias for or against Jeff or the police.
Sounds like that.
It sounds like murder.
Well, I don't. Did you know Jeff before this?
I never met the man, never heard of the man. I don't know him from Adam.
Okay, and you know,
he can be a nutcase from hell as far as I'm concerned. Ain't none of my business. What I'm concerned about is this was murder.
Yeah, and I mean, even we know that he was a bit of a rabble rouser
around
fine,
here. This is America, man.
Yeah, you can't shoot people.
No, you can't shoot people because you don't like what they do.
I don't want to interrupt you either.
What? I mean.
White car, this is Marty right here, okay. White car was parked right. Carpenters. They heard the shots also. He was actually on the news, Greg. They interviewed him.
Yeah.
He's a little goofy, but anyway, his wife, he said, oh, it's a nail gun. And she goes, no, it's not a nail gun. That's a gun. And so then they heard more shots. Well, then the one cop went over there to interview her. He wouldn't tell them their name or nothing, wanted their names. I gotta go back in real quick.
Yeah.
But anyway, she told him we heard 4 or 5 shots. He goes, no ma'am, you did not. Basically calling her a liar.
Marty?
Yeah.
Hi, Anthony Larimore. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We're a couple, and I know that this is my bar card and the driver's license, and I got a card for you too. We're a couple of lawyers from St. Louis that Jeff's family came down and talked to us about what happened out here the other night.
Execution, you mean?
Well, that's what they're saying.
That's exactly what the fuck it was.
And you said you saw it go down?
I was standing right there where my truck is parked, exactly where it's parked right now.
Is that right?
Yep, and I was facing this way, and after I heard the first shot, it was pow, 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 pow. After I heard the first shot, I turned around, and a man was falling toward me with his hands up, facing me, and the cop straight behind him, and he shot him fucking as he was going down.
Was his gun in his holster still?
I never seen a gun.
Oh, you never saw a gun?
I never seen a gun, period.
So no, whenever he has hands up?
No,
okay.
no. All I can say, I cannot swear the man did not have a gun. I can swear the man did not have a gun in his hand. I cannot swear the man did not have a gun. I can swear the man did not have a gun in his hands.
Is that right? And you said he had his hands up like this?
He felt like this. And the man that was with me will tell you the same thing, and I done talked to him, and I give you his phone number. You can get a statement from him too.
Was he being mouthy with the cops?
I never heard nothing.
Really?
All I heard was shooting. I mean, I'm hard of hearing, okay?
Yeah.
From starters, but I never heard cops. I never heard nobody say stop, freeze, police. I never heard nothing. All I heard was pow, 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 pow.
How many cops were there?
I mean, what?
How many cops were there?
There was 2 cops over here, and there was 2 cops parked where that red Blazer is right now, except for they was over this way a little bit. And my guy, actually, I was here to put that gutter up. See where that gutter's busted on this end, that board?
Yeah.
That's what I was here for, okay? Well, I pulled up where I'm pulled up now, and I waited about a minute, and I'm waiting, and I couldn't see in the car. I see a silhouette of one guy in the car in front of me, okay? Yeah. So I told my buddy Steve, I said, Steve, get out and ask these, excuse my language, these fuckers to move so I can get so I can get done, you know? I didn't know they was cops, okay? So my buddy gets out, he knocks on the window, he says, hey, can you guys back up? We got to put a gutter up here. And the guy says, sure, no problem. So he proceeds to back up, and he backs up, and he points over this way. You can see the orange marks where he parked that over there.
Okay.
Well, he backed up. I got out. Steve got out. My buddy Steve got in the back of the truck and handed me the gutter out. I set the gutter on the ground. That's when the shooting started.
Okay. And so, how many shots did you hear?
4 to 6.
4 to 6.
Yep.
And so,
I'm you know, a minimum of 4, a maximum of 6.
Okay.
I heard a pow, 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 like that.
Yeah. Did you see after they shot him? Did you see the cops trying to help him out at all? Or were
No,
they,
no.
We know they eventually called the ambulance, but
Yeah,
you know,
dude, this makes me think this was such a setup. Within 30 seconds, this fucking parking lot was full of fucking cops. Within 30 seconds.
Is that right?
I mean, yeah, within
Were
30 seconds.
Did they look like local guys, or were
No,
they
there was two
feds?
there was
Or
two, these two guys were in plain clothes. These two guys were in plain clothes. When these two guys got out of the car, they put on vests that said FBI.
wow.
These two guys over here was gone like that. They was
right?
whisked away, gone. And I seen them right before they left. I seen one of them standing right here next to some kind of vehicle. It wasn't an ambulance or nothing, but the one guy that actually I seen do the shooting
Yeah.
was standing right here, and he was getting his hands taped up. Why they was taping his hands up, I have no idea, but they was taping his hands up with, you know that box tape, that clear box tape you box cardboard boxes up
Yeah.
with? They was taping his hands up with that, and they was gone.
That could be for the gunshot, the residue from the gunshot.
But I mean, it was just literally split. The two guys that did the shooting, I never seen him again. And then it was just infested with cops.
How long until the ambulance got here? Did you stick around, or did you?
Yeah, I was here. They made me stay around and make a statement. I say the ambulance was here unusually fast.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like, if somebody got hurt here, I'd never seen an ambulance get here that quick.
Is that right?
It's like everybody was just waiting for this to go down.
Yeah.
You know.
How? Let me ask you something. So you said that your friend was with, or the guy that was working with
Yeah.
you. What's his name?
Steve Everhart.
Steve Everhart.
Yep.
Um,
And he talked to that person across the street too.
is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Well,
I'll tell you the same thing. Man did not have a gun in his hand.
yeah. You don't have Steve's phone number, do you?
Yeah, sure do.
Do you?
I just talked to him. I asked him if I give you his, and he said, "Yep." Have him call me.
Okay.
I'll grab a notebook if you don't mind.
Yeah. Let him grab a notebook. And so I mean, it sounds like
It
that.
sounds like murder.
Well, I don't disagree with you. You know, we're trying to piece together what happened as well. And we know that Jeff. You know, did you know Jeff before
I
this?
never
happened?
met the man, never heard of the
Okay.
man. I don't know him from Adam.
Okay, and you know,
He can be a nutcase from hell as far as I'm concerned. Ain't
Yeah.
none of my business. What I'm concerned about is this was murder.
yeah, and I mean, even we know that he was a bit of a rabble rouser
Well, that's
around
fine.
here.
This
but,
is America, man.
yeah,
You
can't shoot people.
no, you
just
can't
'cause-
shoot people because
yeah.
you don't like what they do.
We weren't going to come down here in suits and ties, so
I hear you.
this. A lot of what the family is telling us, sounds
He was a
pretty
setup.
awful,
It was a-
pretty awful. And
yeah,
so
it sounds like to me it was an out and out fucking
Yeah.
setup.
because we drove down here from St. Louis today, and I'm glad you talked to Judith, and I'm glad we're able to speak with you.
Well, I
because
never
it clears
talked to
some of
nobody.
it
You're the
up.
first person I've talked to.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So even did but you said you gave a statement.
Yeah,
to
but
police.
thought you said Judith.
Judith is Jeff's wife.
No, I
the guy
never
got
talked to
shot.
her.
Oh, is that
No,
right?
no,
Okay. She got your number from somewhere. I thought she said she got it from you.
Probably I give the number in here to Maryland. I said
Okay.
anybody wants to hear my story.
Okay. Is
I ain't never in my life had a problem with the cops. I mean, I'm squeaky clean. I ain't
Yeah.
got no parking tickets. I ain't got no drug arrests. I ain't got no alcohol arrests. I ain't got nothing. And I'm just waiting for my door to get kicked in.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you something.
So you keep that in mind because you might be representing
Yeah.
me too if my door gets kicked in.
If we need to get a statement on the record from you,
Yes.
would you be willing to
Yes.
do that? Okay.
Yes.
And so
Steve will do the same thing.
Okay.
It was a deposition with one of the FBI agents. Question: how did he fall to the ground? Answer: he just fell too. Did he turn and fall one way or the other? I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell me. Okay, was he blown away? Did he just... No. Go flying through the air? No, he just fell to the side. Fell to his right side. And what happened to his arms, his hands? He was cuffed. Okay, but you said before the shots were fired, he had his hands in front of his waist. Uh-huh. Is that correct? Did you ever see a gun before the shots rang out? No, I didn't. Before the shots rang out, did you ever see a holster? No. Did you ever see any movement by the hands, up or down? I did not. I remember seeing the hands in front. Okay, do you recall any movement by the left arm? No. Do you recall any movement by the left arm up in the air? Hands were never in the air. Okay. Were they ever raised to shoulder length? No, they were not. Remember this part right here? Because remember that Jeff was wearing a spy watch on his wrist. Hands were never in the air? I'm sorry, the question on line 6 there. Do you recall any movement by the left arm up in the air? Hands were never in the air. Okay, were they ever raised to shoulder length? No, they were not. Okay, and then the shots rang out? Correct. And what did you do? Got out of the vehicle. Okay, and did you approach Jeff Weinhaus? Yes. Rapidly? Yes. Okay, did you draw your gun at that point? The gun was drawn. Did you have any concern that there were other persons in the area who could be in danger? Yes. Did you sweep the area visually? Yes. Did you have your gun pointed at anyone, or was it pointed towards the ground? May have been pointed in the direction of some individuals in the front of the store, just until we identified who they were. The guttermen, for instance. And then there were people inside that I don't know when they arrived. There's another individual, 2 individuals inside the store that came out. So I had no idea who they were. Until we identified who they were, and they knew who we were, that's when we secured our weapons. At the time, did you know whether or not Jeff was still an active threat? No, he was handcuffed, so... Oh, he was? Yeah. Did you observe who handcuffed him? It was Sergeant Folsom. And then you said earlier that you observed the gun and/or the holster after the shooting. I observed the holster. It's a green-colored holster that Sergeant Folsom took off of him and placed in some distance away from Mr. Weinhaus. Where on his body was it before Sergeant Folsom took it off? I just remember the gun being thrown on the ground. I can assume that it came from his waistband, front waistband. I didn't see that though. I didn't see that. You would assume because we were exiting the vehicle and running towards Sergeant Folsom and Mr. Weinhaus, and then my job was to do perimeter security, so I turned my direction from Mr. Weinhaus and started focusing my direction on the individuals by the front of the store. And then, while looking around, I see this gun being placed behind or out of the immediate area of Mr. Weinhaus. And again, that's what not gun, it was a holster, a green-colored holster. So you didn't observe where on Jeff's body Sergeant Folsom removed the holster from? No, but again, I can assume that. You can see around when he's handcuffed, and you can see around and whenever his backside. I didn't see anything on his backside when I was in the vehicle. Didn't see anything on the back right hip, so...
9/11/2012, Sergeant H.J. Folsom called me back and supposedly they're going to give me my computers. I'm running around trying to find someone to go with me. Went by the Book of Acts. Oh no, they can't do it, they're busy. So I stand alone today, but if the Lord be with me, he can stand against me. He that spared up not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he fail to give us all things? Thank you today, Jesus. I praise you, Lord. Glory to the Most High God, King of all the earth.
This is footage from the spy cam watch that Jeff was wearing the day of the shooting. On the way to meet Sergeant Folsom, he can be heard singing gospel hymns and praying. He had contacted multiple people, including church pastors, to try to get somebody to go with him to witness the events. He was not trying to call militia members to go with him, but church pastors and close friends. It seemed perfectly clear to me from this video that Jeff had absolutely no intention of doing any harm to anyone. If anything, he believed that they may have nefarious purposes and that they may intend to do harm to him. You can hear him praying that if these people do have nefarious purposes, that God might be there to protect him. Whether you believe in God, whether you believe in modern science or what, I see it as nothing short of a miracle that Jeff is about to be shot, twice in the head and twice in the chest. 3 weeks later, he will walk out of the hospital.
Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, I thank you, Lord, that no weapon formed against us shall prosper, Lord. Whatever these people are plotting, planning, if it's nefarious, Lord, if it's not of you, Lord, cancel it and cast it down in Jesus' name. I thank you, Lord, for exceedingly abundantly above all we could ever ask or think, Lord, as we loose the wealth of the wicked. Plead my cause, O Lord, that them would strive with me and fight against them and fight against me. Take hold of shield and buckler, Lord, and stand up for our defense. Stand up for our defense. Stand up for our defense. In Jesus' name we pray, and all God's children said, amen. All right, well, they're here, and I'm pulling in here. All right. Thank you, Lord. I praise your day, Jesus. Glorify you. Good, how are you?
You got the gun for him.
Why did I got the gun? What you got the gun for?
Because I'm an authorized to have a gun.
All right, well, I'm authorized to have
Get down on the ground. Get on the ground. Get down on the ground.
You're going to have to shoot me, man.
He still got the gun, Scott. I got him. Yeah, police, FBI, Highway Patrol. Cover me. Cover me.
The police reports and testimony in court were blatant, outright lies. Folsom said that he had told Jeff to get his hand away from the gun or to put the gun down. There is no credible evidence or witness testimony that Jeff had ever put his hand on the gun. Unfortunately, Jeff was fitted with a 82,000-volt shock collar while he sat in court to keep him from speaking up in his own defense. The Missouri Highway Patrol put Sergeant Folsom on paid leave immediately following this shooting. They kept Sergeant Folsom employed, though, for 2 years until Jeff's case was over and his appeal was exhausted. During the original trial and the appeal, exculpatory evidence was withheld. Immediately after Jeff lost his appeal, the Missouri Highway Patrol stopped stringing Sergeant Folsom around and terminated his employment. It would appear to many of us that they used Sergeant Folsom as a hitman and that he failed at his one job. So the Missouri Highway Patrol then used him as a pawn, dragging him along for 2 years to get him to lie on the stand in order to obtain a conviction against Jeffrey. It appears that they used Sergeant Folsom like a dog, and then when they were done, put him down. Sergeant Folsom later sued the Highway Patrol, claiming that he was fired due to his disability, a human rights violation. It was during this lawsuit process that it was revealed that Sergeant Folsom had been suffering from PTSD and was taking psychotropic drugs at the time of the shooting that have been linked by studies to mass shootings. It was later determined that Sergeant Folsom was completely unfit for duty and even unfit to deal with members of the public in any capacity. What Jeff Weinhaus was officially convicted of and sentenced to 30 years for was assaulting Sergeant Folsom on the day that Sergeant Folsom shot him. The jury was told that even if they believed Jeff had an intent to assault Sergeant Folsom, that is enough for a conviction, and that carrying out the act itself was not necessary. Talk about pre-crime. I wonder if all 3 precogs saw Jeff assault Folsom. In Sergeant Folsom's lawsuit against the Missouri State Highway Patrol, a few things are revealed. Henry Folsom sued his former employer, the Missouri State Highway Patrol, and his Highway Patrol supervisor, Major Sarah Eberhard, collectively the Highway Patrol, in the Circuit Court of Cole County. Folsom claimed that Highway Patrol discriminated against him on the basis of his disability, that disability being post-traumatic stress disorder, when it terminated his employment as a trooper. Folsom alleged that the Highway Patrol's actions violated the Missouri Human Rights Act. So it states in here that Sergeant Folsom was employed starting in 1997, and in 2000 had already been involved in a shooting. He was suffering from PTSD from that shooting in 2000. And then in September 2012, when he had the rank of sergeant, he was a criminal investigator with the Highway Patrol, and he was involved in a second work-related shooting. That's the shooting of Jeff Weinhaus. This second incident exacerbated his PTSD. Folsom did not return to work at the patrol after the 2012 shooting. Once he used up his available leave time, Folsom's employment with Highway Patrol was terminated in December 2014. Coincidentally, that was also right after Jeff lost his appeal. I'll leave the link to this in the description so that you guys can read through it and see all the details in here. But I wanted to point out a couple of major things here. In June 2014, Folsom met with Dr. Wayne Stillings. According to Dr. Stillings' report, Folsom told him that because of his experience in the 2 prior shooting incidents, he will never work in law enforcement again because his PTSD gives him false signals of being under threat. He is fearful of pulling a gun and shooting someone when they are merely reaching for their back pocket for a wallet. Reaching into their back pocket for a wallet. It was unclear whether or not Sergeant Folsom's symptoms of PTSD were this bad at the time that he shot Jeff Weinhaus. But considering that there was another officer standing there right next to Folsom when Folsom shot Weinhaus and he did not shoot Weinhaus, that would tell most people that, you know, they're both standing right there. They both see the same thing and only one of them sees a threat. The best advocate for Jeff Weinhaus is Jeff Weinhaus. Nobody knows his story better. Nobody knows what happened here better than Jeff Weinhaus. Over the last few years, different channels and different individuals have done interviews with Jeff Weinhaus from prison. When Jeff speaks, it is powerful. He is the only one who has the inside and outside details of this entire story, and he has the information and the facts to back it up. The prison warden knows this, and therefore, a year or two ago, when an interview with Jeff Weinhaus from prison was put out on YouTube, Jeff was put in the hole, essentially the prison within the prison, for 6 months. The warden cited Sergeant Folsom's safety as the reason for this. With all the stories and all the hours and hours of evidence and video that explain what happened in the Jeff Weinhaus case, what it really truly comes down to is Jeff Weinhaus is in prison convicted of one thing, and that is assaulting Sergeant Folsom. There is absolutely no evidence anywhere that Jeff either assaulted Folsom or even had the intent to assault him. For anyone who's ever sat through an actual court case, court hearing, or a trial, you know perfectly well that truth, facts, and evidence are constantly hidden by prosecutors, and that they are very good at telling what most of us normal human beings would call outright blatant lies, but they don't violate the procedures or the ethics of the bar members and the courts. If anybody's really ever seen what ethics means to a bar member or a judge, it really just means that they are required to protect the interests of the criminal organization that we call the justice system. If after watching this, you believe that injustice has been done here, and you believe that Jeffrey Weinhaus should be free, please call Governor Parson at 573-751-3222 and ask that he pardon Jeff Weinhaus. Please be polite when you call. We need your guys' help in this case. While very few people have even been pardoned in the state of Missouri in the last few years, it's even more rare for someone convicted of a violent crime to be pardoned at all. While Jeff has been convicted of a violent crime here, all of the evidence shows that the crime just wasn't committed. This is going to be an uphill battle, and we need your help. I will leave links in the description to the videos that got Jeff Weinhaus thrown in the hole for 6 months. I'm also considering doing a live stream and having advocates for Jeff on so that you guys can ask them direct questions. Let me know if that's something that you guys would actually be interested in the comments below.